Here is how to load data from a JSON file into Instadeq. The first thing we need is a JSON file card. So here is an empty card. You can get one on a deck by clicking on the Add New Card button at the bottom or top of each card. And now select a JSON file card type. This is the default view and configuration. First, we have the persistent option, which is a way to store and retrieve the last values for a given channel. Each new card gets a unique channel name, but you can say give it a name yourself, my JSON channel, for example, and we will hit apply. The JSON card allows you to load more than one value. So what it will do is it will load, if you dropped and stored more than one value into that channel, it will load them in order, the last 10, for example. And there's this option, detect table and sheet format. We will see. Usually there are cases where you have a JSON file or some JSON data that represents a table, and there are different formats in JSON that represent tables and are used a lot. So we detect most of them and present directly a table. Let's start seeing how to load data. The first one is via drag and drop. If you have a file around with some data, you can just click drag and drop into the drop area and it will be displayed. And the other one is to click and select it from the file picker that opens. It's the same. Since our card is set to persistent, Instadeq will ask us if we want to store the value in the channel. So if I say yes, it will, for example, whenever I load it again, it will load it automatically. And whenever I store a new version, anybody using this source or this channel will automatically get the updated value. This will make, for example, dashboards update instantly whenever I drop a new value here. As you can see, this is a JSON file that has deeply nested information for SpaceX launches. We can collapse it if it's too long. We can collapse individual sections, no matter how nested they are. And we can see here the navigations. This is a list of objects, nested objects. Each item in the root list is a launch. And since it has many fields and it has many launches, many entries, we can paginate the root list. So for example, now we are seeing the 10th launch over here, but we can also paginate the fields because each entry is really long. So we show only the first 10 fields for each field. So you can explore all the data there and just a notice, check for these navigations because there may be more fields than the ones you are seeing. So this is a JSON that's really big and really nested. We provide ways to navigate it and see around. But sometimes you have a JSON file that's basically a table, and that's where this option, detect table and sheet format, comes in. Now I'm going to click here and load another file that says salesdata.json, and it will display as a table. I will untick this and load it again. You can see that is a list of records or objects where all the values are literal values like text or numbers. They are not nested. So Instadeq automatically detects that is a list of records, flat records. So it converts it into a list. I'm going to check this one again and do it again. So now we have directly a table, which is the base format of Instadeq, and we can skip a step. In the case that you have to convert JSON into a table, I'm going to do it with this one to make it less confusing. So I am going to, again, untick the text format and load it. What we need to do is get the fields we want to use in a table, and we have to drag it and drop them into a select. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the basket here and drag the fields I want. Let's say we want all of them. I'm going to collapse this and create a new card, select, and I'm going to now drop them there. It will automatically create a table because the output of a select is always a table, but the table will have only one row. This is because since we drag all the fields from the first item in the list, in JSON items are indexed starting from 0. So we get a table with just one row. But if we want to have all items in the list, we can expand the output again and see that we have 100 rows. So we want a table with 100 rows. What we can do is click here on the 0, and instead it will tell me that there's an alternative to that value 0. It's 0 to infinity, basically, every item on the list. And I can say that yes, I want to replace it, and I will quickly do it for all of them. What we are saying now is that the input is not the first item in the list, but all items in the list. And Instadeq in the select query will iterate over all the values and generate one row for each. So now we have a table that has 100 rows and the same data we would have if we ticked this and we did it manually. Of course, this second way of doing it is needed in case, for example, for SpaceX launches where the data is not flat and we may want to reach deep into an object to get one or more values, and this is the way to flatten tables on Instadeq. So since it's set to persistent, we can say that we want to store it, and this will be the next value stored and will be the value sent to everybody listening to this channel, and will be the one that will be loaded next time this source loads. So this was how to load data from a JSON file. If you have any question, just comment on the comment section below. Bye.